Hi, my name is Jo Rogers. I'm a lawyer and the founder of Navistar Legal. I act as an in-house lawyer to businesses like yours. During my career working as a lawyer, both in and out of the city, I've helped companies to raise over $500 million of investment. And I'm here to share some of the wisdom I've learned during that time with you. If you're a business and you're looking for investment, this video is going to give you exactly what you need to understand some of the critical concepts and details to make sensible decisions that minimize your risk and maximize your value. The fact you're watching this video means that you're ready to learn more about investment, so thank you for taking the time to join me. You probably know that finding the right investor for your business is a big deal. Get it wrong and it can cost you dearly. I don't know about you, but whether you're looking to secure an investor without engaging an expensive lawyer, or whether you're just looking to understand more about this topic before you start the process, you will get value from this video. Usually people give me a call or send me an email, usually in a rush, asking for a document to sign up their investor as quickly as possible, usually immediately. It's at that point that I mentioned they may have already missed a trick and may not have asked all the relevant questions. Depending upon who you're dealing with, investors are usually more experienced than you. Luckily, I can provide you with the questions to ask and practical steps that you can take prior to getting that investment. My intention is to put you ahead of the game because it will get you at least asking some of the questions that experienced business owners ask before they start to agree important terms with those investors. And this should save you some time, it will save you money, and it will definitely save you heartache later on. Before we get going, if you don't already have one, pause the video, pick up a pen and paper so you can take notes and complete the actions as we go. Okay, if you've got one, let's begin. Let's start this video with a few key principles and questions you should know before reaching out to investors. I know just as much as you do that as a small business, cash doesn't always flow, and that a lack of cash can inhibit growth. Sometimes your solution might be to seek additional financing from someone outside. The first thing to do is to think about and explore the options for financing, and ideally, if possible, avoid giving away equity. They say that friends, families, and fools are the only ones who invest in small businesses. But nowadays, there are many different alternative options. So giving away equity might seem easy to do, but it is a high level of commitment and high level of complexity which can be avoided if you think about it strategically. That being said, this video series focuses on equity investment. It looks at limited companies. It doesn't look at partnerships, PLCs, or sole traders, or any other form of financing. That's for another video. However, what I don't want you to do is give away equity at the first available opportunity. You want to think about the other options and the end consequences. Equity can be more complex than getting a bank loan, in my overgeneralized opinion. It has higher risks associated with it. So if you're strapped for cash, always explore the other options for business before giving anything to anyone. There is a brilliant download. It's from K2 Business Partners. It's called K2's Business Finance Guide for Entrepreneurs and SMEs. If you are thinking about your finance options, then have a look at that report. You can search for K and then the number 2-partners.com. The second thing you'll want to do is to consider whether you want to exchange shares for someone else's work. As a general rule, I say never give away shares in exchange for anything but cash. But frankly, this is a rule, especially in the startup community, that I rarely see followed. It's too tempting for people to save on short-term cash rather than to consider the long-term consequences. And this is called sweat equity. Ever heard the phrase, "there's no such thing as a free lunch"? That statement definitely applies to sweat equity because while skills and connections are really, really useful, getting services for free from people will cost you more in the long run. Imagine this, you and your two business partners want to set up a limited company. You each take a third of the shares and you claim that you're business partners. All three of you set out to work, but then one day the coder seems to be taking significant holidays and not doing much work. At this point, there's very little that you can do because he already owns all of his shares. You're quick to get into bed with somebody, but when they don't pull their weight, it is a lengthy decision to get them out. He will get a third of the shares and he'll get a third of the value of the business if you sell. But if you had a well thought through shareholders agreement, then it wouldn't just be the two of you left doing the work. Does this sound unlikely, or does it reflect a situation that you recognize? I can assure you this is the most common scenario that arises when I speak to you people as business owners. So if you do bring people on board or get into a partnership where you focus on currency, not as cash, but as sweat equity, then do make a note of the following 5 points. Number 1, drip feed their equity over time. This is called vesting. Shares will vest or be provided to a shareholder once you as the board decide that they can receive them. This means you remain in control when they receive those shares. If this person does not perform or stops doing what they say they will do, then you don't give them any further shares. So it acts as an incentive for them to keep working hard over time. Number 2, you want to be able to buy back their shares if they do something or fail to do something that they should have done, which includes they stop providing services to you or the company. Number 3, make sure that the value of their work is actually equivalent to the number of shares you provide to them. With sweat equity and investment, you may be tempted to just pluck a number out of the air. You know a friend who gave 10 or 20% of their business over to their IT director, and you now feel you have to do the same. You will want to understand exactly how many hours they're going to put in, the results they're going to achieve, or how much value they're actually going to add over a time period, the time period that they're committing to support your business for. 4, never give away equity for a loan. I've recently seen some really cheeky investors provide a business with a loan in exchange for shares. Unless you're absolutely desperate for cash, think very hard about any deal like that. On the face of it, it feels reasonable. You get cash when you need it, but you don't realize you have to repay the loan and they get to keep the shares for the lifetime of the business. I've seen this twice and it thoroughly annoys me. I feel like businesses are being tricked into giving their money and it's not for the benefit of the business at all. 5, don't assume that your staff want shares in your business. You may want to incentivize your staff with equity, and believe me, I'm all for employee ownership and incentive schemes. But check with your staff first. It's actually a little arrogant to assume that your employees want shares in your business. You should definitely check your assumptions. Check that they don't just want extra cash in their paycheck at the end of the month. If you decide you want to give equity to your employees, then you can find a great source of knowledge at www.gov.uk and look for tax employee share schemes. Linked to this final point, it sounds odd, but you should also check your assumption that an investor wants to receive shares. It is likely that they do, but I see potential investors sometimes be very happy with a profit or turnover share, which avoids complexity in the share scenario. This video looked at finding you some other finance options and attempted to steer you away from giving up shares in your business, or at least consider other options. I suggested that you looked at K2 Partners and their list of investment options that are available mostly in London. We then addressed some of the don't do's when giving away equity, including giving away shares for something other than cash, knowing your company's value, drip feeding shares over a period of time, and making sure that you don't make assumptions about giving away shares to your employees. I get it, sometimes we're all short of cash. Sweat equity is very tempting, and none of these rules can be hard and fast. They should allow you, though, to make some sensible decisions and determine the good deals from the average deals at an early stage. Stick around for the next video that allows you to maintain control over your business when you do decide to give away equity. We'll build up a summary of terms that you will want to include when looking for investors. I look forward to seeing you then.